Ever since joining the Dallas Cowboys, George Pickens has been one of the best receivers in the entire NFL, and it's completely changed this Dallas Cowboys offense, going from a mediocre offense to the best in the NFL. So I want to jump into the film from their Thanksgiving game against the Kansas City Chiefs and see what makes George Pickens so unguardable and how he's completely changed this Dallas Cowboys offense. On this first play here, the Dallas Cowboys are going to come out in a 3-by-1 formation, 3 receivers to the left side of the field, and 1 ISO receiver, CeeDee Lamb, over here. And what we're going to end up doing is we're going to put our slot receiver in motion here. And what that tells us is, one, the Chiefs are in man coverage, right? They moved Trent McDuffie over and they've manned up all of our receivers across the board. And this is good for us because what that ultimately does is it puts George Pickens in a position where he's one-on-one with this DB, and we're going to have a slant right here and a slant right here. And since they're showing cover 2 man, this safety is going to be backed off, and this safety is going to be backed off, which is going to really give George Pickens an opportunity to win right here one-on-one on this outside versus Justin Watson, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Great job there by George Pickens. On this next one here, we're going to have man coverage yet again, except George Pickens is going to be ISO'd on this bottom part of your screen right here, and he's going to be running a hook route, which is really going to save Dak here because he makes a major mistake, and what that mistake is watch this slot corner right here. Watch how he peeks his head inside and CeeDee Lamb points at him and tells Dak, hey, he's blitzing. Because ultimately when a DB has their eyes in the backfield pre-snap, it shows us they're either in zone coverage or if they're close to the line of scrimmage, they're probably blitzing. So CD notices, hey, he's blitzing, points it out to Dak, but Dak does not look at him and doesn't realize. What Dak should do here is hit his tight end quick, who's moving in that gap, but Dak misses the blitz, doesn't pick it up, realizes he's getting hit, but trusts George enough that he knows exactly where George is going to stop, and we pick up a completion there. We get DPI, which I think is a ticky-tacky call. I think George is actually the one who kind of reaches there, but great job here by George. That's some unbelievable chemistry, and actually a really, really good throw by Dak to make up for that mistake of not picking up the blitz there. On this next play right here, once again, coming out in a 3-by-1 formation, 3 receivers are this side of the field. George Pickens ISO down here at the bottom of your screen. This is going to be 3rd down, and you see we have a lot of people down here walked up to the line of scrimmage, and this guy's playing off of this receiver. So to check and make sure we have man coverage here, we put our receiver in motion. That tells us, yes, we do. It looks like they're playing a banjo scheme, which means this guy takes the inside, this guy takes the outside, and this guy takes the guy who's running across the middle of the field. Great, works there. We see they are blurring in the heat, and what that ultimately tells us is George is one-on-one on this backside, and he's able to do whatever he wants. What makes this so dangerous is George Pickens is the best 50-50 ball receiver in the NFL. So what he's going to do is he's going to attack this outside hip of this DB and then cut in and pick up an easy slant right there, makes a great move after the catch, and then does what he does. Just makes guys look funny out there. You love to watch it. But what I do want to point out is look at this ball security. We know George is not a big guy on it. This is going to come up a little bit later. That's the one issue I have with George Pickens is he does not always hold on the ball well. Once again here, we've got a trips formation, 3 receivers at the top part of your screen. CeeDee Lamb isolated down here at the bottom. You see George is our far wide X receiver out here. And what we're going to do, we're going to motion this tight end over to give us a 2-by-2 formation. And what you saw is this safety was creeped down. Now he backed off and this safety came down, which tells us they're running a cover 1 robber look. That means this linebacker right here is going to be our robber. He's going to play a little hook zone over the ball, and this is going to be our deep safety. This is great against cover 1 because we have George Pickens, once again, the best 50-50 ball receiver in the NFL. So what he's going to be able to do here is exactly what he just did a second ago. He's going to be able to attack this outside hip of this DB, and as soon as he opens up those hips, George Pickens is going to be able to throw him off of him and break inside on that slant, and because this linebacker is inside right here and this safety's deep, we're going to have a wide open slant once again, having George Pickens keep running the same route and keep getting open on it every single time. Makes your job really, really easy as a quarterback when you can identify that it's man coverage and have a receiver that's going to beat it every single time. Okay, on this next play right here, Dak's going to once again miss the blitz pickup, which is something that you hope he fixes down the stretch. It's obvious that we're getting blitzed right here. Obvious that this guy's blitzing unless they fall off late, but we know in hindsight they don't. But Dak's got to at least notice that and identify this guy as the mic. And because he doesn't, this left guard pushes over and blocks him and leaves the guy to come in free at him. But what George is going to run right here is going to be a quick out. Dak does a great job of getting him that ball. But what you'd like for him to notice is, hey, if this guy blitzes, what we should have is this tight end going over the middle of the field here and then this receiver also coming over the middle of the field right behind him to give him a double slant type option here, which really beats an all-out blitz, especially near the goal line. But what Dak does here is he gets blitzed, makes a great throw off his back foot, leading George outside. George makes a move right here and ends up fumbling the ball. As I mentioned, that ball security, he's fighting for yards, leaves it open, if you notice right there, and it gets punched out. Thankfully, Kavate Turpin falls on it. But what you end up seeing right here is we put ourselves in a fourth down situation where we're forced to kick a field goal because Dak did not realize that he was getting an all-out blitz right here and get quick to the middle of the field. So once again, missed opportunity here, but you see George is just unguardable in man coverage pretty much. In my opinion, this was George Pickens' best play of the entire game. You're up 7, third down, gotta pick this up right here because if you don't, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are gonna get the ball back and they might go down and win the game on you. What we're gonna have here is George Pickens once again. Can anyone guess the route he's running? Another slant. Gonna attack that outside leverage of that DB, get violent to the inside right there. This is called a diamond slant because you see we're kind of forming that top of a diamond right here. Great job once again by George Pickens, but why does this work so well? Well, it's because we realize they're in man coverage because once again we motion our tight end over. This linebacker slides, Dak sees that, and then he notices we're not just in any type of man coverage, we're in cover one man again. Once again, robber right here, deep zone right here. That leaves one man underneath to guard all this territory. Well, what happens is this guy's always going to lean towards the strong side of the formation because you're going to expect some type of rub or pick right here, right? You'd usually expect this to be a slant underneath and these guys to kind of set a pick for him, and that gives you an easy first down. So he's going to instantly look this way, realize that it's not coming to him, but then it's too late. Dak already has George Pickens inside. And this is one of those things that a lot of people at home are freaking out about. How are we losing this when we know he's only running slants all game? It's because, once again, he turns 50-50 balls into 90-10 balls. So what you're going to see here is Justin Watson knows he's going inside, but he has to respect the outside, and because he does that, George is able to instantly throw him off of him, break inside right there, and he has Dak's trust and knows that if he puts it on him, he's going to catch the ball. So ultimately, George Pickens has transformed this Dallas Cowboys offense. All the motions that Brian Schottenheimer's doing are really opening up the game for him, and CeeDee Lamb and the rest of this offense are just allowed to thrive even more because George Pickens is impossible to guard in man coverage. Let me know down below what you think about George Pickens, and as always, thanks for watching.